We recently had Foster Freeze in the Economic War Room, and we talked about bearing one another's burdens. We talked about philanthropy, what it was like to start in business and become a billionaire, and all the different wonderful projects he's doing. And one of the things he brought up that I really want to delve down on is he talked about the health care cost crisis in America. And that is a serious issue. It's something we've talked about in the Economic War Room before, because that's a third-party pay mechanism, and it is a cost spiraling out of control. So we invited Foster back to talk about free market solutions to the healthcare crisis. Welcome back, Foster.
It's delighted
How
to
are
be
you
here.
doing?
Any better, I'd be an astronaut. Strong like bull, young like boy.
All right, well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. You mentioned it last time. Along with college tuition, the real spiraling costs that we're facing as a nation, and one of the costs that bankrupts people, a lot of people get bankrupted, and one of the things that prevents people from diminishing the wealth gap is the fact of health care costs. If you have a health crisis in this country or just paying your insurance, bottom line is it could bankrupt you. But you've got a solution for that. Can you tell us about your Patients USA program?
Well, it's very interesting because just in the last week I've met with key legislators in Washington, D.C., and we have a good opportunity to passing something that could create a dynamic shift in this. It's a one-line piece of legislation, quote, every provider of healthcare products and services to the public.
Every provider of healthcare products and services to
the public is required to publish cash prices. That would unleash an unbelievable amount of change. I, 2 years ago, had a deep vein thrombosis, DVT they call it.
Right.
And I had to check my coagulation in my blood. My doctor tells me, go to this hospital, it's Phoenix, and they said it'd be $146. But if you pay cash, it'd be $73. I got it at a lab, independent lab, 1 mile away from that hospital, not for $73, $13. There's a woman who is from a foreign country. She's a doctor. She started her own direct provider care operation, and she had a son that needed to have a magnetic resonance image, MRI, because he hit his head. And after the insurance kicked in, she had to pay a deductible of $2,500. She asked, what's the cash price? $400.
That's outrageous.
And on this video, patientsusa.com, there's a little video that talks about checking 800 and some pregnancies, deliveries, of which there are 3.8 million a year. And without any complications or anything to do with what the baby's condition was, the room costs alone, Yale Medical did this study, ranged from $1,000 to $11,000. So what we're hoping, and we now have a lot of senators and congresspeople excited about this, because who's going to oppose it? Now, there's been a couple things on transparency. President Trump did an executive order.
Which is good, but can be wiped out when the next administration comes in.
Well, not only that, but it's being challenged because the hospitals, insurance companies, drugs companies are saying, hey, we don't want you to know what our relationship is between the hospital and insurance company. And to a certain extent, we don't need to look under the skirts to find out what's going on there. The key thing is, what do I pay as a consumer? So the fact that we can know what this relationship is between the hospital and insurance companies is almost irrelevant to us.